From the OUTV Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, California, this is Brief News Brief, a brief look at today's trending news topics, proudly combating the thought police since 2016. Here's your host, James Heaney.
I'm James Heaney, and this is your Brief News Briefing. Today, Trump swears in General John Kelly as the White House Chief of Staff. This is Kelly's first day on the job after Reince Priebus resigned just last Friday. It was a whirlwind of events when Smoochie Scaramucci, the new White House communication director, started calling Priebus names and dragging Reince through the mud, the proverbial mud. Reince Priebus was later fired by Trump, and Trump announced that General Kelly was going to be the new Chief of Staff. Will this be the new dawn of the Trump administration's competency? Can John Kelly tame the Mad King? We all certainly hope so. Tune in later today to see if anything changes in the Trump presidency. Over the weekend, it was reported that North Korea's latest missiles have a range to send a nuke as far as Chicago. Now, if you guys have been paying attention to this show since its inception, I have always been incredibly afraid of nuclear weapons hitting me in Los Angeles. I didn't even think they'd ever get the possibility of going further than that. It's the only thing that I'm really worried. Well, obviously, the most important things is, healthcare. If we don't fix that, there could be a biological disaster when some sort of disease spreads. B, global warming could raise the ocean levels and everybody dies from heat stroke. Or C, possibly the most immediate threat, a nuclear winter caused by North Korea. Nonetheless, Trump responded to this new ballistic missile test that was successful by saying, "We will handle North Korea. We're going to be able to handle them. It will be handled. We handle everything. Thank you very much." Trump, that scares me more than anything, because if he's handling this, I've seen everything he's handled so far. It's, the story of, I think it's Midas touch, everything turns to gold. Well, Trump, whenever he touches something, it turns to shit. And I'm just worried about that, okay? Trump also publicly scolded China via tweet, kinda his jam, and blamed them for North Korea. China has a key financial lever that they can pull, and it's hopefully going to be used to influence North Korea away from their nuclear program. We would like them to use the lever stronger, pull the lever all the way down, do whatever you can to stop nuclear war. But nonetheless, we are still waiting to know what Trump's strategy is on handling the North Korean problem, which is probably the most existential threat that currently faces the United States. Vladimir Putin is expelling nearly 800 American diplomatic workers from Russia, which is an unusual and significant move on Russia's part. This is in response to the latest rounds of sanctions that the House and Senate nearly unanimously voted on last week, and is currently sitting on Trump's desk to sign. Trump, all he has to do is just squiggle his name out. And Trump has indicated that he will sign this legislation, but he has been largely quiet on the issue. Vice President Pence spoke out strongly against Russia on the issue and is currently visiting the Eastern European countries that are constantly in the crosshair of Russian aggression. Last week, the latest version of the GOP healthcare bill went down in a dramatic death when John McCain came back from his brain surgery because he had brain cancer. Well, I think I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but he had a brain tumor. I think the tumor is cancerous, so I believe that means he has brain cancer, but I don't know if that's how it works. But can we all agree it was dramatic that he comes out of surgery and treatment, and he goes first up there to vote to get the bill to the floor? And I'm like, Johnny McCain, how could you do this to me? Couldn't you just sit this one out? I know you're healthy, but we don't want this to pass. He comes in like a maverick, and he gets this bill to be voted on, which, for the record, I have always said that I think that we should at least put things up to the vote. But it really scares me when a vote so important looks like it's going to fail. Nonetheless, John McCain votes that we should at least hear the vote on it, and then voting it down. He walks up to the front, and he puts his hand out like some kind of Roman king, and then boom, shakalaka, puts the thumb down, and the whole room erupts with applause. It was pretty fantastic. This was the last time. This is the bill's legislative death, if you ask me. This is just the latest rounds of 6 months of failed attempts to repeal and replace the controversial healthcare legislation, Obamacare, which is now more popular than ever. Americans are bracing themselves in hope that Republicans and Democrats will come together and fix the problems with the current healthcare system, which I'll admit there are some problems with it, but not enough problems to kick millions of people off the healthcare plans while we figure it out. Last week, Trump surprised everyone via tweet when he decided to ban transgender officers from serving in the military. This was very upsetting, not only to those transgender people who have served their country, but also military officials were left completely confused, receiving a military order via tweet. Officials confirmed that they would not be implementing any new policies based off a tweet. Any new military direction needed, it has to come through proper channels. That's the chain of command. That's how the military works. Maybe John Kelly can help Trump with that figuring out of stuff. Think Trump is touched? China's president just banned Winnie the Pooh for resembling him. When the people posted a picture of President Xi Jinping parading with President Obama beside an identical image of Pooh patrolling with Tigger, the bear brouhaha began. Proximately, a picture of Xi shaking hands with Japanese Prime Minister Abe was next to an identical print of Pooh palling with Eeyore. That wowed the web. But when a shot of Xi poking his pate through the moonroof of his limo popped up by a photo of a proportional plastic Pooh, bulldozers banished the bewitching bear. Ironically, in China, where he is constructed, brief news, brief dissents. This condemnation is clearly unkind to Eeyore and Tigger, collateral damage in the conflict between the Chinese president and the imaginary bear. And there's also Trump. These guys all have nuclear weapons, and they are the lunatics running the asylum trying to ban Disney cartoons.